I got nothing. I thought I had something like a planned introduction there for a second. And I was like, nah, I needed about 10 more seconds to figure it out. Yeah, welcome back to the Dynasty Weekly Grind, or the Weekly whatever they renamed it, because apparently I'm bad at naming things. We go live every Wednesday at 9:30 to talk about Dynasty takes on weekly events. The idea is in season, so we're going to do Dynasty analysis as the weeks progress instead of doing the more holistic stuff that I usually do with the Dynasty Crossroads. Tonight, I've got Russ Fisher, who is actually the co-host of this show, but, he's got a life, unlike me, so sometimes he can't make it, but he is back this week, which we're excited for, and a surprise mystery guest. I didn't know who's coming on, so I'm actually pretty excited about that. We already have comments lined up in the chat. Hey, Edward, how you doing? So yeah, post your comments, trade questions, value questions, start sit questions. My second round of projections for this week's already up because that's how quick I am. Don't tell my wife. Woo. Yeah, welcome back to the Dynasty Grind. That's it. I don't know why I still do this. I don't know why, because it's a bad idea and we should just start with a theme song and go from there, but that's all I got. Let us know what you want us to talk about. We are starting off the night talking about Hunter Renfrow and Juju Smith-Schuster, because there was an interesting trade poll I found interesting by, I think, the Dynasty Pollster on Twitter today, and I ended up sending Zach Reed off on an epic level tangent about how he holds grapes like a 13-year-old. I don't know. I didn't listen, to be honest with you, but let's get back to that. Look, fellas, Edward's already, I don't know why I'm trying to call you Edward. I'm sorry, I apologize. Already wished us hello. Spock498 is back for, I think every straight week Spock has been in here. He's already asking about James Conner's value, but could you finish off the thought you were having about Hunter Renfrow there, Zach? Do you remember it?
Yeah, well, you were talking about Renfrow versus Juju Smith-Schuster, and I am a full-blown, you know me, I like them slotty. I love Hunter Renfrow.
Likes them slotty.
I do.
Yeah, that's the thing he said.
It is, and I like to have players that have the ability to drive big volume. If you look at the last 4 weeks in PPR, Hunter Renfrow and Chris Godwin are basically equal. They're separated by less than a point scored in the last 4 weeks. Since the last time I came on, Peter, and said, go pick up Hunter Renfrow for your playoff push. He scored 68 points. But the problem that I see for Hunter Renfrow going forward into next season is Darren Waller back, is they will replace Henry Ruggs with at least a serviceable wide receiver who can stretch the field, will probably draw targets. And as much as I hate to say this, Bryan Edwards is probably pushed aside. They bring in somebody else. And so for Hunter Renfrow to be able to drive the targets he needs to be better than Juju going wherever Juju is going to go next is really, it's hard for me to see Hunter Renfrow being better than Juju Smith-Schuster going forward, unless he ends up with Mac Jones and the Patriots, and then all bets are off.
It's weird because I'm a bit of a Juju stan at this point, but all the reasons for not liking Hunter Renfrow suck. They're all the team's just going to screw him over, and it's like, but that doesn't mean he's not good or he deserves to be screwed over. I get that he,
no, he's great.
Doesn't look like a football player, but he's been good. But yeah,
he plays a position that's not valued, or plays the position in a way that's not valued by a lot of
Tyler
NFL
Boyd.
teams.
Tyler Boyd 2-3 years ago. AJ Green got hurt. All of a sudden, Tyler Boyd's killing it.
Yeah.
And then AJ Green got healthy. Tyler Boyd was still doing pretty well. No one ever valued Tyler Boyd as anything because he needed AJ Green there to do better. And then AJ Green went away and Tyler Boyd did pretty well. And then T. Higgins came and Tyler Boyd did pretty well. Now Higgins and Chase and Boyd's kind of screwed. I think that's where we're heading with Renfrow. Anyway, you brought it up before. When Waller comes back and he's fully healthy, they're going to draft a wide receiver because they've just missed on the past 3 they've tried. And then people are just so annoyed with Juju at this point, and through no fault of his own. He got hurt this year. The year before was just trash unless you were Deontay Johnson on the Steelers. And Juju's going to come back. ACLs mean nothing in the NFL anymore. He's going to be healthy. And he's going to get to pick whatever damn team he wants. And we're forgetting the Chiefs offered him a ton of money.
Though. Yeah, he wants Pittsburgh. I think that's worth noting.
He was brilliant because he took the 1-year deal because the cap went down. Next year, they're getting TV money involved in the cap. It's going to go up tens of millions. And he's going to be able to get that wide receiver money that he's probably going to be the best free agent wide receiver out there.
It's weird. I was going to make a Hunter Renfrow as the, banker-looking Deontay Johnson comparison, and I kind of like it, except for the fact that it really underrates Deontay Johnson. It's kind of similar, but even over the last 5 weeks, Hunter Renfrow's averaged like eight targets a game, and Deontay Johnson's averaged like 11. So even if you just look at the last 5 weeks, Hunter Renfro's actually doing a rich man's Juju Smith-Schuster impression from this year, rather than Deontay Johnson. I think Deontay's a little underrated too. So unfortunately, that comparison doesn't work. I think Tyler Boyd's probably a better one.
I mean, Deontay
just think
in ADP is top 20, by the way.
It's one of the things you want on the record. Like, it shouldn't be true. Hey, dog. But yeah, it's Juju Smith-Schuster over Hunter Renfrow. Hunter Renfrow, they should both be valued higher. I moved both of them up in my ranks just for the hell of it. All right, Spock's asking about James Conner. His value this offseason, nil.
Trade him now. Trade him now to a playoff team now.
Even if you're a playoff team, probably trade him now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, no.
Yeah.
James Conner's going to score you points.
I got other points.
Wait, hold on. So here's a scenario. Go with me. Okay. After this season, James Conner and Chase Edmonds are both free agents.
Yes.
Who do you think?
This game that we play.
They're not riding with Eno Benjamin. They're going to ride with the...
You watch the Eno Benjamins. But carry on. No, it's all right. I'm not trying to interrupt you.
Now, again, we have to play hypotheticals. It's the best we can do. Assuming they don't pay both of those running backs, even if they don't, someone is going to pay James Conner to be a running back on their team. He has shown that he can carry a decent workload, and he's shown that he can score touchdowns. This guy's going to be a goal line back. Sorry, the dog is just staring at me. He's going to be a goal line back no matter where he goes. This guy is going to score touchdowns no matter where he goes. This guy is going to be one of the top tier handcuffs no matter where he goes.
I'm just going to point out a few things here about the fact we're live streaming. That's a real good point. I'll get back to James Conner. And one, we work really far behind the comments. So if you just posted a comment, know that we'll talk about it in about an hour. Because we like talking about this stuff, but we do try and work them as quick as possible. Two, Russ is from the Dynasty Trade Podcast. I'm actually wearing their shirt today because I was trying to make him feel good and it didn't work. And Zach is from the Dynasty Dummies Podcast. Check them both out. I'm also a terrible host, as Bob Gilchrist literally came on purely for the point of saying that, apparently. Nobody
likes him anyway.
No one likes the value guy, and that's what it is. The thing I'd say about James Conner is I don't hate your point, but his value is going to drop this offseason. The points are going to be fine because he is a good player, and he is going to play somewhere next year. But, Christian McCaffrey is going to see a value dip this offseason. James Conner is going to drop to nil. And so I would trade for him, but if I can trade him away, that's what I'm doing. If you've got him, you can't possibly trade for him. So you trade.
The thing is, he's probably worth a second right now because
that's
what he's worth to a competing team, at least in my opinion. He'll drop to a third after the season because
trade for him back in a month,
and then once he signs, because he's going to sign somewhere. He'll probably be worth a second again because we'll just remember how well he did in Arizona.
And here's the thing. Even if you couldn't trade for him back in a month, because in reality, any team I'd try and do that with, they're going to be like, no, dude, I just paid you a second. I'm not giving you it. So in reality, you're probably not going to be able to get that done often. But there are so many James Conners at running back. And it's not going to be James Conner down the stretch next year. Despite the fact I like the player, the nastiness of running back is the NFL Hunter Renfro's every running back. That's the problem with Hunter Renfro.
And he's going to be 27 going into the season next year on another team. Maybe it's Arizona, but Arizona's a top 5 scoring offense this year. So, you talk about him scoring touchdowns. Well, yeah, because Arizona's scoring touchdowns, like they're going out of style. And if he ends up somewhere else, he may not have that, that market cornered, and he may not be on a team that scores, as often. And so, like, I'm with. I have James Conner in a lot of places because I like James Conner. He's
a good player, undoubtedly. Yeah. I like him a lot.
But I think that if you can get that second, or what I try to do at this point in time is package guys, and I'm still trying to get 2022 thirds, 2023 first. Sorry, I'm dyslexic in this year, and like that's what I'm still trying to get 23 first. So if I can package Connor with something or with another pick, I may even send it a 22 for. I don't just.
Actually, that's interesting.
Oh, if you could pull off Connor and a second for a 23 first, go do that. I don't care about what he does next year. Go do that. Yeah, 100%.
Makes sense. I like your dog, by the way. I think it should take my spot in the podcast. That was an awesome dog.
Chewy for president.
Donald Mooney, again, he's going to drop. He's going to Hunter Renfro, and he shouldn't. I will be interested in Donald Mooney this offseason. I think his value this offseason is probably going to be a second, and no one's going to want to pay it or give it. It's going to be one of those between a first and a second. Grass, go for it. Yeah.
I was saying, like, I'll pay a second for him because here's the thing. He was worth a first coming into this season because he only had one more year of Allen Robinson.
Don't you way that we love that hypothetical game? Well, he's behind an Allen Robinson.
And here's the thing. Allen Robinson's going to leave. If fingers crossed the Bears clear house in front office, which means Nagy's gone. Fingers crossed they bring in another wide receiver. And then Justin Fields gets to be good because Justin Fields is really good at football. And that's really good for Darnell Mooney. We've seen Darnell Mooney is pretty good. He's not an alpha. He's not great, but he's a great wide receiver too. And I think at this point, I was about to say we've learned, but we're sitting here talking about how no one respects Hunter Renfro or Juju Smith-Schuster. So maybe they don't, but like, it doesn't matter. He's going to score fantasy points for your team. I think I would gladly pay a second for Darnell Mooney than risk using it in the draft this year.
Yeah. Oh, big time.
So like, I think if Darnell Mooney is on your team, chances are you don't trade him for a second, but that is his value. So again, if I say it's during the draft, like if I could trade an early second for Darnell Mooney and a later second, like I'm all for that. Trying to leverage picks so someone will be willing to take a second for it, add to it like a late second, just do something to sort of bolster the value of your pick to go get Mooney. So I think it's a very smart move because we know him. We know what he can do. We know the situation. Well, we know most of the situations, and we know who his quarterback is, and we know who his running back is. And those are two guys who are good enough to make the offense run.
And the cool thing to me about Mooney as a player is he can be the downfield threat. You can also slide him into the slot and have him catch the ball 6 yards down the field and get yards after the catch. I know the Bears haven't done a lot of that. They've used him down the field, but he can do both. He's super versatile in terms of just being a player. I just traded him away. I hate the fact that I did, but I got a pretty good deal. So
the main takeaway I've got from Donald Mooney is much like a lot of players that are drafted low, they're always going to be slightly undervalued. And so Donald Mooney is going to be a good target. He was this offseason. His value is still going to be held down because of it, and Chicago this time instead of Allen Robinson. He's just a very particular sort of player where no one wants to pay the value, which means it's always kind of a points play. And that's not something you do in the offseason.
Right.
It's something you can do right now if you want to start playing Mooney, but that's difficult because Chicago. And so he's in this really weird spot. I would just remember that Donald Mooney's good. That Allen Robinson couldn't make Chicago work, and Donald Mooney can. Because again, situation matters less than player. Ultimately, like all the excuses we make for this player is just in a tough situation. Donald Mooney don't care. Terry McLaurin don't care. I mean, good players can get it done, especially if they have a particular skill set for that situation. To be fair. So I'm a little more worried about Allen Robinson than I am Donald Mooney, but Allen Robinson is always going to rise in value quicker if he does anything good. So yeah, we love Donald Mooney. This is an interesting one. Thomas Pritchard's asking about Rashad Bateman. He clarified the name.
Rushed man, I like it.
Here's the thing about Rashad Bateman for me. Everyone liked Rashad Bateman as much as I do, which meant he's been a constant sell all season because I like Rashad Bateman too much. Like, he's not Justin Jeffersoning. He's not CD Lambing. He's not Jamar Chasing. He's a good player on a great offense that's throwing more than it ever has in the last 3 years, which I did say was potential. I'm just saying. I did say that. And this is a good rookie season. This is what a good rookie season looks like. We always get spoiled by good draft classes, and we've had 2 back-to-back, and we're now like, oh, this guy's really struggling. He's not struggling. He's a rookie. That's what they do. Like, this is normal. So I'm not panicking, but I think he's still a sell. I think people will still give you what he could be instead of what he is right now in trade, and that's where I'm at on him.
No, you're right, because I think people agree with you, especially having missed the first few weeks, having Marquise Brown look good, which I know, Peter, you always believed, and I went in and out of believing, but
yeah,
he's good. And like you have always said, people earn targets. Marquise Brown is earning those targets, and Rashad Bateman not only has to earn chemistry, develop chemistry with Lamar Jackson, and then learn the offense well enough, execute the offense well enough, then execute the offense well enough to earn those targets away from Marquise Brown, which by the talent of the player.
I mean, you got Sammy Watkins and Devin Duvernay. I mean, there's room for Rashad Bateman. He's just a rookie, I think. Yeah, and the offense won't pass this much all the time. This is an excessively high season that I definitely didn't see coming. Despite what I tried to say earlier. But, I mean, most of this season, you could have got Elijah Moore plus for Rashad Bateman, and that's flipped.
Yes.
They should have been equal value. Right now, I think they're probably closer to it because, the vacated targets myth is hitting again, and everyone's like, he should be getting so many more targets. It's like, no, that's not how that works.
Hey, Corey Davis just went out for good. All those vacated targets are going right.
He's going to go off. So I don't know what to do. Rashad Bateman, if you've got him on your roster, you're not starting him this year because he's a rookie, and you're seeing them, especially going towards the playoffs. Like, you probably, unless you're really pushed, I'm not wanting to start Rashad Bateman this year. The good news is his value's insulated. Like, unless everyone loses their mind because they're way too high on him coming in and throughout this season, then his value's pretty much insulated. So you don't have to panic. You just keep him on your bench. If you find a good trade, you can trade him away because his value always seems to be inflated. But I'm not panicking. I think this is a good rookie season, and I'll roll with it unless I get an excessively good trade. I do feel it, though. It is like Elijah Moore's going off and my Rashad Bateman isn't. I get the feeling. It's tough playing it cool. I get it. But that's
Patience
my
is
opinion.
the worst.
Am I missing anything? Like, is it like I heard someone once say, sell every first-year disappointment because you do get that insulated value. And if they perform better later, you can always trade for them back or at a different time or in a different league. And overall, it's kind of a smart policy because that insulated value just tanks if they don't perform next year. And that's a lot of expectation to put on a single year. So am I not exaggerating the sell window enough?
Well, to me, though, if you look at what Bateman has done so he didn't play until week 6, right? So he's played 7 games. The last one, the sky is falling because he had 1 target. And I know you can't remove that. So if we leave that in, he's averaged over 5 targets a game.
And he had 4 the first week, and now we've got a trend. That's not a trend.
And if you take out this like one target where everyone, is panicking. He's been over 6 targets, averaged over 6 targets a game. That's really good for a rookie, especially a rookie who missed time with injury in the preseason and early season. Like he's not been bad. Relax. He was never going to be Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, Justin Jefferson ruined it, recently. Like we finally, after
AJ Brown,
2014, Tom's the hell down.
These two draft classes, like 2014, we thought ruined us. These two back-to-back, this is destroying
Well,
us.
we finally calmed down after 2014, and these guys came and ruined it.
It's been 3 because we got DK and AJ Brown. Then we got Justin Jefferson. Then we got Jamar Chase coming in and blowing the roof off the first 7 weeks of the season. And Kyle Pitts is doing things, even though everyone says he's a tight end. He's basically playing receiver. I think he's only been in line like 30% of the snaps. So like
I was about to say 30 times this season. Yeah, probably.
Yeah. And so like we've been spoiled by this, and not every rookie is going to come in and have the greatest rookie season in the history of the world by definition.
Even though we literally just had that record break back-to-back years. But
yeah,
Addison Hayes from DLF, I believe he does DLF stuff, right? He tweeted out something.
A certain trade show on YouTube that drops every Thursday.
Mm-hmm. It was about something entirely different, but it made what it made me think of it was he was quoting the best the best wide receiver season in points ever was 2014, and it was Antonio Brown. And that made me the hottest rookie class ever. And Antonio Brown was the guy who had literally had the highest scoring point season, but he was pointing out the Cooper Kupp's on pace to just destroy that season, actually. So, and again, Cooper Kupp in back-to-back best rookie years, it's guys, it's a 28-year-old, old-looking non-wide receiver guy who's literally. I think it's worth noticing those little things because the value trends are true. We're trying to play value, but don't forget to notice that points live very different places. And they live in Cooper Kupp and Antonio Brown. I mean, it's weird.
The thing with Cooper Kupp is everybody hated him coming out. Whether they didn't like the fact that he was just purely a slot receiver, or they didn't like the way he carried himself, or he was old, or he played in I don't even know if he played in a conference. I think it was just like 7 guys out in the field with Cooper Kupp.
I believe he was called a compiler at the time. He was racking up stats in a lower conference, which he's one of the examples of why I just don't tilt over conference too much.
Yeah.
But carry on.
No, but that, like, I think that like, and I tweeted this out the other day. I think maybe I just sent it in a DM to you guys, but it was like a whole bunch of people were like, Cooper Kupp in the first like 10 minutes of the game didn't have a catch, and they were like, Cooper Kupp is what we thought he was. And then
29 minutes later,
the next 3 plays he had 94 yards and a touchdown, and I'm like, Cooper Kupp still the wide receiver 1. Weird.
Remember Thielen when he was doing that, like 18 straight weeks of 100 yards and a touchdown, but he would start slow and be like, this is it, he's trash again.
Well, everybody wants to come in and dance on the grave of somebody that they evaluated and said no, they're bad, and like that's the thing. Like, I think as an evaluator, you have to come to terms with you're going to be wrong.
Never.
And figuring out why you were, and perhaps reevaluating your process when that happens. I mean, not all the time, because some of the times it's just
again.
What do you math people? Is it an outlier? Is that the thing?
No idea. I would just say you don't want to tilt in it too hard, because then you don't know with all my teams that are all decrepit and old and scoring points. But no, actually this year they're not.
What are points?
But I just think it's worth noticing that we are going to tilt, because rightly so, the value, everything everyone's saying about the value is locked in and it's true, and these young players are it. But like, Team Old Guy is going to come at a discount, and they're still going to be the ones scoring points next year. Like, difference making. Terry McLaurin, DJ Moore even is going to start looking old. Michael Thomas coming back, they're all going to look too old, and they're going to be
Devontae Adams, too old, 29.
Too old. And also, the one other thing I'd say about Rashad Thomas, or Tom, or whatever you prefer, to be honest.
Oh, I thought you were like making a new name in Rashad Thomas.
Rashad Thomas is a good name. That's a good, solid name. Now, it's way too easy to make things look certain ways and like there are patterns and trends with splits, and people are going to do. They've been doing that with Rashad Bateman all season, and it's not like I ride who is Sam from Rotoviz all the time about posting splits because they're valuable and they're descriptive and they're very interesting. But if you're not familiar with it, you can get way too ingrained in that they are presenting facts when they're deliberately not. It's a very short. And just for an example, like in week 9, Mark Andrews had 10 targets because one of the things you can show with splits is that Rashad Bateman has been slowly declining in targets over the last 3 weeks, while Mark Andrews has been having 10 plus targets, and Marcus Brown, since coming back from the 1 game off, has been having it as well. And it looks like the targets are all vacating there. Splits are literally part of the problem with vacated targets. But back in week 9, all that time ago, like Mark Andrews had 10 targets, Marcus Brown had 12, and Rashad Bateman had 8. Like, there's concern there, but if I didn't fully believe in the college profile, I might be a little more concerned. But this honestly is going to fit smack bang in the middle of what a good rookie season looks like, even if he never has another great fantasy game this season. And I honestly think that's the way it's going to look. He's got like 10% of the expected point share for the team, a dominating team this year. He's got a 15% target share. He's fine. It's just awkward, just to put a cap on everything smart you guys said. Spock laughed at me, I'm assuming, or something I said. And Joe says, hey, Joe, appreciate it. Edwin, howdy, guys. I appreciate the use of the word howdy, personally. After Bateman's goose egg, more Bateman questions, so it's a good job we talked about that for like an hour. Hollywood Browns. I said this early so that I could say I said this at the time. Everyone's going to believe his top 12 season's going to fade in the same way that everyone thought Cooper Kupp's was fading after the first 20 minutes of a game. It's not. This is sustainable. This is who Rashad Bateman is when the team passes more. It's not going away. How confident are you that Hollywood Brown can maintain? Very. Like, he's going to finish top 12. And everyone's going to be like, BMI this offseason still.
He's so small.
He's not thick enough. I'm very confident in it. Can he have a bad game? Yeah, he's a wide receiver, and that'll suck in the playoffs because that's what wide receivers do for you. But I'm personally. Anyone got more concerns than that? Because I'm very biased.
I mean, Hollywood's one of the guys I missed on. I have to make sure I revisit process on him. You know,
I purely. I think my process was right that he was a better player than where he was valued and stuff. But the team throwing 35 times a game, that was like a distant dream for me. I did not think we could get this, and we did. There is. It's slightly exaggerated now. He might not be a top 12 wide receiver going forward, but this season, this is the way it's trending. After acquiring James Robinson, should I be concerned with playing him after last week's? It depends who your options are. That's my base start sit question. James Robinson is a hard sit as a running back 2, just because he has that role. But he's a running back 2, not a running back 1, because of what he's been doing lately.
And because of the team.
But it really depends on your options. I wouldn't sit him just because I'm scared. It would have to be a real solid option.
I hate that coaching staff. I hate that coaching staff.
Bad.
I hate
get rid of it. It's not good for fantasy. Get rid of it.
I saw an interview with Urban Meyer where they asked him if James Robinson was benched after the fumble. And he said, I don't think so. And then turned it over to his offensive coordinator, who said, no, he was banged up. And then someone asked, well, if he was banged up, how come he played in the last 7 plays of the game when the game, it didn't matter? And Urban Meyer was like, that's a good question. And then the next day I saw an interview with James Robinson who said, nah, I got benched.
Before that, he doubled down.
He got benched.
Urban actually said, I regret putting James Robinson in for the last 7 touches of the game. Like he doubled down on it. He was hurt.
Yeah, if you need a recommendation for a player, find the ones that Urban doesn't like.
Yeah,
that seems to be James Robinson's probably good.
Yeah, he's very good.
Urban's going to be gone, and Visca and Robinson are just going to destroy.
So Tim Shady, you and I are going to ride James Robinson to championships these next few weeks. It's going to be fantastic. J Mike will cry because I'm going to beat him in Olympians with James Robinson and James Conner. It's a double James attack. And so Tim, I roll him out, play him.
And in 4 years, when my team catches up to you guys in that league, you guys are going down.
I've got James Robinson ranked as a wide receiver, as running back 20 this week, which means there are 20 other running backs I'd start over him. And because he's outside the top 15 or so, that means I'd probably start good wide receivers inside the top 24 over him as a flex. But honestly, I really just think last week was an anomaly. Projections don't. I built it. It's not that smart. So you're probably under projecting him a little bit. But that team is just a nightmare. Hope that gives you some context, Tim. Nicholas, I got Chubb, Hunt, and Jacobs. Brag. Diggs, Ayuk, Boyd, Kirk. Good team. Waller. I have 2 firsts, probably. Probably 3rd and 7th pick. Knowing this, should I lean one way or the other for running back or wide receiver with those 2 picks? No. You should take the best players, the players you think are the most likely to score points.
Unless Breece Hall is there at 3, and then you should take him.
Well, that's the thing. Your rank should be better than everyone else's, so that you will know who to pick. That's the challenge. But ultimately, don't draft players for positional needs. You can trade them away if you really have strong needs and want to be more secure in who you're getting. You can trade them away for certain positions, but draft rookies based on literally who you think is going to be better.
Yeah, but honestly, with your team, trade those first and get dudes that you've seen score points. I know that
try to add 2023 draft capital.
Where they're like, because Spiller, Walker, and Hall, like they're the names. They're the names right now.
Yeah,
it doesn't mean all that much. Like that doesn't mean they're going to help your team next year.
Yeah, you're playing for this year or trying to acquire value for the future.
And then you can, but like, however good your team is right now, you have 2 firsts, one of which is early, to just go get a crushing player.
Yeah.
So drafting is fun. Draft picks are fun. I get it. But man, your team's very good, and you could make it even better by just throwing those 2 firsts to go get a player. And like you can get someone young with those. So it's not like you have to go buy the Keenan Allens and the DeAndre Hopkins and the anyone else drafted in 2013, because those are the 2 guys I went for right away. You know,
who'd you go get, Russ?
Yeah, you don't have to go for old people. You can get young guys with 2 firsts because they're firsts.
So we're talking Jonathan Taylor Swift, I guess. Maybe even Najee Harris. Or Taylor Swift,
if you can get any of those running backs with those, yes, throw Jacobs or Hunt in 2 firsts and Hunt for go get not Josh Jacobs, Jesus no, 2 firsts and Hunt for Jonathan Taylor or Najee Harris.
The go-to move right now is probably just send a 2nd for Leonard Fournette, but he's right. If you can get one of those other guys for the first season, do that too.
Yes, I meant going forward, like in the future. If you're no trade deadlines, people, but that's a conversation for another hour and a half we have.
Yep.
But if you do have one, yes, go get Leonard Fournette, because that's or Melvin Gordon. I know no one's going to want Melvin Gordon because of what Javonte just did, but Melvin Gordon is going to be healthy. He's going to get back, and they're going to give him the ball because he was really freaking good when he was healthy and he was playing. And their schedule is cake.
I will say the one, though, you said 1 QB in this, Nicholas, and the one adjustment I'll make is in Superflex, I will make sure all the quarterbacks are gone before it goes past my pick. If you let a quarterback fall to me, I don't care. I don't care how many times I've got caught with it, because drafting for position is bad. Too many Mac Joneses. I'd rather take that risk.
Quarterback is a position.
That's the only adjustment I make, but you're playing in 1 QB, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, because again, there's 3 running backs, so you have a 3rd pick, so there'll be 3 of them.
FF briefcase knows.
J-Lo's lined
up. Joannis, welcome back. Hola. Sorry, I murdered that accent. Nicholas, I'm trying to rebuild. Right, so I'm assuming you're not competitive. In which case...
sell all your running backs.
Yeah, sell the running backs.
All of them.
If you're trying to rebuild, and I will be looking for 2023 draft capital as I'm making trades for younger wide receivers with those running backs and those picks.
Make sure your league,
push value out.
make sure your league mates know that Josh Jacobs' target share has been like 40% over the last 2 weeks. He's now catching the ball.
And get
He's
rid of him
great.
quick before Jalen Richard comes back.
Yes.
You could, depending on when your trade deadline is, but you could even wait for this week. I think he's going to have a pretty good week. So. Let's just breathe in the goodness of Lawrence starting for his boy J-Rob. Standing? Yeah, that's cool.
Standing up for him.
I don't do much rookie quarterback evaluation in general, but I think I'm thinking about adding him to the play. So I'm interested in trading for this off season because it's not a bad rookie season. I don't really know how to judge quarterbacks, but I think the bloom is off the rose on that one. And I don't know why. He seems like a pretty good player, as far as I can tell.
Because there's a rookie quarterback doing well, and he's not. So by comparison, he's bad.
He must be bad. Right?
Yes.
No idea. Anyone speak the youth?
I feel like that's probably a spam thing.
Cool. It said FYI. I know that one, so I figured not. Keyshawn Vaughn, Darrington Evans, Adam Trotman, Tutu Atwell, Tyler Johnson, all my misses. Thank you. And Anthony Schwartz. Actually, Vaughn isn't one of mine, but there you go. Neither's Evans. Maybe this isn't my list. Are on my drop list for next season, but you must save one.
Tyler Johnson for me. Yep.
Yeah.
Anthony Schwartz.
Second.
Schwartz
by
is,
Tutu.
I like Schwartz too. I think
Schwartz was doing pretty decent to start the year, which is impressive. Yeah.
Very fast.
Speed doesn't matter.
It's really all
matters.
he has, but it works.
No one is going to love Bateman like I do. That's fair. I honestly think he's going to be a good player. He really is. Sounded like you were going to say something.
I was going to say you just talked about Hollywood Brown for half an hour and then said speed doesn't matter. That's all Hollywood Brown does too. He's just fast.
Just
very fast.
If speed was all that mattered, McCall Hardman would do something. I want to join a dynasty with you guys this off season. Me too. I'm actually full right now. I'm trying not to add leagues. I have been for a while.
I'm dropping a couple of leagues. Not
I have
gonna lie.
to drop them to add some, and right now I like my leagues. But yeah, I guess pay attention to the Twitters. Someone's normally setting something up.
Oh, finally, a great question.
John Bosch. Whoa, Russ and Zach. Why is Peter even here? It's a good question. Can I just add, he has been spamming me Fortnite requests since we started this stream. John's been asking me to play Fortnite, so I'm gone. No, I'm just kidding. Russ. She found you funny. That's Joanna.
Yay! My purpose.
Fair. 29 isn't old. I know there's some kind of distinct irony in 30 and 40-year-old men and women on the internet calling a 29-year-old old who is a professional athlete.
Yes.
But that's how we live vicariously through them, I guess. Timothy Powell's. Don't worry, sophomore wide receiver always break out. They don't always break. No, I like the
sometimes fifth and sixth year wide receivers break out.
It is the most common.
As running backs.
I think I haven't run the off-season stuff yet, but I think second year might be especially where there's a lot of third-year breakouts this year, and it tends to come in cycles based on draft classes. And so, second year might be a thing next year, but I haven't looked yet. Trade ETN for Josh Jacobs next year.
No.
I mean, if you're losing, ETN's going to have more value this off-season, don't you think? Yeah.
The second he starts getting having an injured running back is like gold because the second there's a video of them running on the internet,
trade him.
Yeah,
you've got to know your league for that. Like your league might not.
Literally nothing can raise. What could raise Josh Jacobs' value?
Yeah, his value's going down. Yeah, ETN's win say if you're playing for next year, easy. I traded Connor and Renfro for a first. Good trade. And a second.
That's good value. You shouldn't be sad about that, though. If if you're competing, that sucks for you, man.
Yeah, but come this off season, you're gonna be feeling pretty good about it.
Yeah,
again.
It's good value.
Edwin, how high do you think Jalen Waddle's ADP value will climb in this off season? It's a good question.
Not
top 10. It's not out of the realm that he gets in the top 12, top 10. I won't be paying for it there. But
so I just tried to trade Nick Chubb in a second for Waddle in a 23 first and got cold rejected.
It's because you were trying to trade a running back for a young wide receiver, an old
To
running back.
to a competing team that loves
Waddle's
Nick Chubb.
putting up points. Here's the thing. Young wide receivers are awesome, and they should be the only. You should get extra points for having a wide receiver under 24 on your team. Like you should you start the game with 2 points already because you're starting a 22-year-old wide receiver. That's what I think.
Here's a tricky value thing that you see in a few different contexts, but Jalen Waddle has caught up and overtaken Jamar Chase in terms of rookie production.
Because you know why? Because T. Higgins is so dang good. That's why.
Jalen Waddle versus Jamar Chase.
But Jamar Chase is doing bad because T. Higgins is just so good that he's.
Now, it's only because of the recent weeks, but
stop taking this away from me.
For the season in its entirety, not using splits, Jalen Waddle's now having technically a better rookie season. Now, here's the thing. It doesn't matter. Jamar Chase is always going to be more valued because we are a very reaction crowd. If you can get Jalen Waddle for less, if you can get Waddle plus for Chase, you do it. But I think we've caught up on Waddle. Like, everyone's really enjoying Waddle's recent burst. And so there's this weird situation where you should be able to get Waddle at a value sneakily, but I think everyone's overvaluing him because of recent points. It's a tricky thing. Should he? I think you could easily put him in the top 12. I don't think he'll get there, is what I'm saying. I think his value is going to be held down because for some reason, we're going to remember that early season better.
Okay, so we have, December mocks are still being run right now on DLF. For November, Waddle is wide receiver 28.
There you go.
He's going to jump Mike Williams. He's probably going to jump Marquise Brown, whether it should or not. Keenan Allen.
Too low, but yeah.
Keenan Allen, Mike Evans, he'll jump them. Devonta Smith probably will, just because who knows what's going on with the Phillies. Cortland Sutton dropped. Chase Claypool dropped. Pittman will also go up from wide receiver 20. But here we have, I guess here's where we could start: Waddle or Michael Pittman.
You also have Elijah Moore climbing is the thing. We don't have players descending. We're going to have some ascend with him. I think it'd be hard push to get to the top 12. What was your question?
Because at wide receiver 20, we have Pittman, Judy, Amari Cooper,
Waddle.
DeAndre Hopkins.
Waddle.
Over all of them?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Hopkins and Ridley are just going to drop because
Ridley shouldn't be up there. Yeah.
Well, this is also November.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're at 15. Waddle or T. Higgins?
That's where you're at.
Chris Godwin?
Oh, Waddle.
Deontay?
I want Deontay.
Debo?
I want Debo, but he's probably going to jump him.
McLaurin?
He's 25. His ADP's got to come down. People are going to get scared of his age.
Regardless, but we have had multiple wide receivers you've picked over Waddle, and we hit around 14-ish. Yeah. So by default, being a young wide receiver on a young team with a young quarterback who I at least think is awesome, yeah, he's probably going to be around wide receiver 15.
I think that's fair. I don't know he gets there. Like I said, I just think we have. I'm making a prediction rather than anything else, but he should be, and if he doesn't, we should be interested in him more than that.
Yeah, if he doesn't, I will have so many teams with Jalen Waddle on them.
It's just his value is so good.
And he's so good.
Like, he could stink next year, and young wide receivers get at least 1 year where we're like, hey, yeah, right. If he does 2, then you're in trouble. So this year's already in the books as good. Next year he can fail, and you still keep your value. I think that's what I'm trying to say. Yeah.
Is that a Juju tweet?
The week kind of puts up 40 points. Yeah. I feel stuck on Spiller, Hall, but I know not CJ Spiller. I don't know rookies yet. Zach, you go.
I have only watched Hall and 3 early games. I've watched 3 games, 2 2019 and 1 2020 of Spiller. But I will tell you that Breece Hall is very comparable in my estimation to Najee Harris, Javonte Williams out of this previous class.
Hey, I don't know rookies because I've always found it kind of fun to be just as up to date and accurate, if not more, than a lot of people on rookies, just by literally starting just before the draft. Like it's fun for me that everyone spends so much effort, and then I'm like, just turn up late with my magazine and do pretty well. But the reason I'm mentioning that isn't the flex on hard work. It's these last two classes have made me think maybe I need more context for wide receivers. Too many doing well without playing enough in college. I'm thinking specifically of Jalen Waddle. He just didn't play enough. I couldn't put together a composite statistical profile, and so context might help out more. These last two classes, and then I just keep thinking about what Travis May from RotoViz has been saying to me for a while, where the transfer portal rules have changed enough that we're going to be seeing more of that. Yeah. So, yeah, that's all I know about rookies. Literally, those names mean nothing. The leader of my league is Jonathan Taylor and Najee Harris. Good night.
Yeah. Tip your cap.
Time to bail. Good call. Burke, I've heard a lot of good stuff about Burks just on the timeline. I have no opinion.
I don't know who that is.
Yeah.
The only Burks I know is Ellis right now. But that was from like 1986 or 7 when I was a Red Sox fan as a kid.
Melvin Gordon is a good dynasty asset like Todd Gurley, meaning he's not a good dynasty asset. He's still a good player, I think is a fair comment.
One of them is scoring points.
That's fair. And he hasn't had quite the injury injury history or whatever that Todd Gurley went through. But
Gordon has a lot of stupid things. Gurley destroyed his knee and it destroyed his career.
Apparently, I thought for a while it was the Rams playing funny with his workload, but yeah, he didn't come back like Gordon did when he went to a different team. So probably not. I got Kyler Murray, Justin Fields. That's good, but it's one QB. I would trade at least one of them. Trade Justin Fields if so.
Yeah,
like I like buying Justin Fields, but you've got Kyler. You're good in one QB. Anything you can get for the others is gold.
Yeah,
golden or extra. Yeah, extra. Kyle, CEH or Metcalf this week?
I'm just going to say Metcalf.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, Metcalf probably wins.
Just upside alone. Even. You can't trust a thing Pete Carroll says when he says positive things. But he said Russell Wilson was not fully healthy. His finger was not fully healed when they brought him back. Yeah, that's not positive. Like that's them saying they did something stupid. That's something he'd admit. So I believe that. So I believe Russell Wilson will keep getting healthy, and I think he will get better, and that just makes DK all that much better.
Yeah, my answer is DK Metcalf. Everson was a wide receiver 23 or so. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is like the running back 14, and my projections are running back 16 or so by consensus. But we play wide receivers who are one tier below above running backs in the flex. So just because the average times they score their points per game or higher. Those are the start sit rules. I don't make them. I made them. So yeah, it's Metcalf for me. But Clyde Edwards-Helaire is a solid start this week, to be honest, but I would play Metcalf. You don't even check your own channel chat. I'm checking. They're all meant to come in here, so I have to come in here now. I do. They're all meant to filter the same space. I'm sorry if I'm missing you. I really am, Joanna. Sorry. And go back and watch it on mine because I need views. I don't. Like everyone I know could watch it constantly, and I still wouldn't have enough views for it to matter. But I appreciate you. Really do. Nicholas, I sold every handcuff. Good call. Darrell Williams, Madison. Madison, hopefully you waited until he was like top 5 running back this week. Alex Collins, once they got hot. Yeah, that's you're rebuilding, retooling. What do you call it, Russ? Correctly, I would say.
Well, rebuilding is completely trashing it down to start all over. Retooling is still competing and just reworking around the core of your team.
It feels like he's not selling players that have value or good or
so it seems like he's retooling more than he's full on rebuilding.
That's the way I thought of it. Still keep Josh Jacobs unless you get a good trade. That's retooling to me. Where do you think Russ will end up in 2020? Hopefully back on this podcast. Yeah, that's
right.
Stole my joke right out from under me. Well, cool.
You only think Russ, this is your show. Okay, no, wait, hold on. We need to actually answer this question because this is wonderful.
Okay.
No, he won't be. He's gone.
Joanna thinks the Giants. You think he's gone? I don't.
Let this be the year. Burn it down, baby. Pete Carroll, gone. John Schneider, gone. Russell Wilson, bye. Bobby Wagner, I love you so much. Bye. Jamal Adams, get back whatever you can for that horrible trade. I love Jamal Adams. I love Jamal Adams as a Seahawk. 2 firsts, really? Like, and your team wasn't that good. Like,
Could be. You got Russ, Lockett, and DK Metcalf. The fact you're not in the Super Bowl every year is somewhere.
Russ Wilson is worth
somewhere.
8 wins. 8 wins. Russell Wilson is worth 8 wins on his own with competent wide receivers. Him and Lockett alone, 8 wins.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why they can never really rebuild. And the fact that Schneider doesn't like first round picks, because even when he has them, he picks very badly. Like by taking by taking a guard and by taking Rashad Penny, who people were so jealous and they were calling to trade for him right after they took
I'm just sitting here. There's no need to personally attack. Okay.
I'm sorry. I like Rashad Penny too. If in the NFL he was drafted in the 3rd round.
Keep going with the round. Go.
I really do. I love Russell Wilson. He is probably a top 5 talented quarterback in the NFL without really thinking about it. He deserves to go somewhere better. I would love to see him in, like he said, he would waive his no trade for the Broncos, the Saints, and the Giants. Mm-hmm. I want him to go to the Broncos so bad. I want him throwing to Judy and Sutton so bad.
That's because honestly, it's a downgrade for his skill set. But yeah, they would light up the league.
Almost anywhere he goes is a downgrade.
Yeah, that's the thing. As long as you got good wide receivers, it doesn't matter if they're amazing.
But I mean, don't get me wrong. Go to the Giants so I could go see him play because I live in New Jersey. Though the tickets would just be astronomical, and I have to
It's the Seahawks. So what's the worst
Dad, I
possible
haven't talked
decision?
to you in a year and a half. Do you want to buy me some Giants tickets? Yeah, let's go. Let's bond. That got weird. No, I would love him in the Broncos. The Saints, I mean, I love the idea of him with Sean Payton, but man, they need everything on that team right now. Okay,
yeah.
I'm done.
It's the Seahawks, so I'm going to bet on the thing that will hurt me the most. They're just going to pay him a fuck ton of money. They're going to keep him. And that's going to stop them improving the team any other way, and they're still going to run the ball most of the time. That's what's going to happen.
Well, that's pretty much like it's if they cut him this year, which there is a quote unquote potential out, but it's like $26 million in dead money. Or you trade him like that.
Yeah, there'll be a value trade somehow they'll pull off.
I guess. I mean, I guess that's the thing. But like you're looking at,
even if it's it's weird that we have to call it a Brock Osweiler deal because it's so done in the NBA, but it was never done in the NFL until Brock
baseball
Osweiler.
and the NBA do that. Yeah.
Like you pay someone to take the contract, and I think worst case scenario that happens.
Yeah,
like they can't cut him.
I just don't think there are many Sean McVays. It's not that Sean McVay is a genius. He's just not an old coach doing things the exact same way they've always done. And he had to pay the hell up to get Stafford. There's only so many people that are willing to shake it up like that to do it. And then no one's
I think Staley would. Like Staley seems like a very smart head coach.
You have more hope than I do.
Yeah, but they still have Elway.
Joanna thinks the Giants.
Yeah, and Gettleman. I always think Gettleman when I think smart.
Yeah.
GM.
No, he'll also be gone. That's why they'll move away from Daniel Jones.
He could way overpay stupidly, I guess, and get lucky. I don't know. Yeah. What was it? John Hogue said. Someone posted a GIF of that "No thank you, yes please" GIF where it's DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. No thank you, but Evan Ingram and Kenny Golladay.
It was Daddy did that. And Mike Viola.
Yeah.
Well, I think
the meme gun and Sandwich King.
Yeah, Sandwich King.
Will you let me?
I literally DM him whenever I eat a good sandwich at this point.
That's probably right. I like it when people in the chat talk to each other. It feels like we're inspiring a community of people that have better conversations than we do.
It's really funny that this is the place everyone goes when they talk about maybe Russell Wilson going to the Giants. Ciara just wants to go to New York at this time. She's tired of the West.
She's just bringing in the golf.
I mean, look,
his wife loves New York. She doesn't live in Seattle anymore.
It worked with Giselle. Giselle wants to go someplace warm. How about Tampa?
I mean, I almost went to Seattle because my wife needed to go work there. Does that count?
Yeah,
it didn't work. It didn't go through, but it almost happened.
I don't know these people.
Jacob,
Probably.
oh no,
I don't know.
he's saying he's a Raiders fan. Jacobs will be fine once we rebuild. So you can't be a fan with your fantasy team. You can
Which is
be
really
a fan, but with your fantasy team, you got to be rational, Nick.
Which is funny because I don't like having
you
Seahawks on my
can.
team.
You can definitely, and honestly, yeah, Jacob's going to keep scoring you points, but
Just not a lot of them.
just know that his value is gonna ass out real quick. That's all. Like this is your value window. If you want to,
Once they
do it
rebuild the
now,
O line, draft another wide receiver, and start throwing to him more often.
at which time he's like 29. That's
And
the
then
thing.
he's a second. Then by then he's on his second contract, and he's
We're
dead
talking
in the eyes
value,
of-
not performance or the player. Even it's just
And I'm
blame
sure he's a
dynasty
wonderful human
players.
being, but just it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Value goes up. with
Baywatch
running video.
effect. I love that. Oh man.
It's like the
They should
like the
actually
preseason
just-
back shoulder fade videos
They
too.
should put it slow motion and the Baywatch theme song on it. Let's just be honest about it.
All right, I'm gonna have to learn how to do some video stuff real quick, just for when that first video comes out of like ETN or Dobbins.
There you go. Like, viral. I can sense a viral tweet right there. Join us. Love this show. I appreciate it. I like it pretty well. I have fun.
Wow, Peter. Wow.
I don't love you the way Joannis does. Okay, I'm sorry.
No, you just dropped that second sentence off of her comment.
Zach is a nice addition.
No. You're good. You were
I knew
good.
you
We
don't
just
care.
love the
I
show.
care.
I think the fact I have like Zach is pretty much my only guest on every show ever. Like, you're not gonna slip a you don't like Zach in.
So my last 4 shows that I've recorded have been your show.
One or the other. I hate Zach. Obviously. Depends on the team. They go to over talent. It's really situation dependent. It is true. I tilt less over situation because situations change, players don't. But as we're seeing with like Allen Robinson not making it work and Daryl Mooney do, it's not like Allen Robinson isn't good anymore. Some players thrive better in different situations. It is true. But it's kind of way too early to be worried too much over that. Is that fair?
That's for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, Elijah Moore on the Jets. How terrible was that? Or frankly, Rashad Bateman, although that has been rough lately. Rashad Bateman, Baltimore are thought to be a terrible place. Kansas City. Yeah, I think Carl's. We should just let the chat talk to each other.
We're just going to sit here and read.
And that's like
we're providing the platform. I like Facebook. It's fine. Linda Woods. Again.
Yeah, see, someone's spamming us. They're just jumping in here.
Don't know what it means. I wish I did. We got a little thumb up in the corner here. Ryan McDowell gave us a Facebook like. Bryce Hall is deceptively fast. Don't know who that is. He's so big, but looks like he's moving slowly like a train does. Don't understand any of that sentence. It sounds like you would have to watch.
She is absolutely right. Yeah, no, I'm with you, Johannes. Like
she normally is.
Like, look, Peter, you and I and Russ, we're gonna have conversations in the next 2 months about Breece Hall, and I'm going to rave about him. Like I said, he is the only player that I have watched completely in this draft class so far. And he grades out very similarly to Najee Harris and Javonte Williams for me from the last class. Like he is
Breece
that
Hall,
good.
101.
Yeah, he is a very, very good running back. He's got great vision. He's got fantastic hands. Has several 20-catch seasons. Like I am 100% on board with the Breece Hall love in the chat.
Tape evaluation always sounds like it should come with a, likes moonlight walks on the beach. Enjoys reading books.
Okay,
It's very intimate, great hands. So soft,
1001001, Peter.
You're gonna have to remind me all of that in about 3 months. That's, I don't know. But Joannis is usually right. Rice Gate Randy. Sorry, I like that name. Pump these likes up, guys and girls. There are 20 plus of us in here. Well, we'd appreciate it, but it's cool. Just happy to have you here.
I forgot there were people watching.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I probably wouldn't be able to do this if I constantly remembered. I'm just here talking to friends. ADM, nice. Burks equals 10 years of dominance. Hall equals 5 years of dominance.
That's still a lot. I don't care. It's more than 1 or 2. That's cool.
I have no preference.
Oh, nice.
I got a first for
Madison is
Madison.
very
Yeah,
good.
and honestly, probably good for them too. So I think that's fair. Bro, that's such a bold take for not knowing where they land yet. Oh, he's talking about Burks and Hall, I guess. I don't know. What player can you compare Elijah Moore's upside to? Landry?
Nah, it seems like it's higher than that now.
What's he up to lately?
Don't you disrespect Jarvis Landry in my presence, Russ.
You know, I know you're Landry love, and you know that I know that you know that I do also love Landry, and you know that I know that you know that I know. All right, I've lost it.
The man was
Landry's,
like
he came in and everyone was like, he's going to be the best slot receiver in the league. He's going to be great. Like, that was hyperbole, but like, he's going to be a very good slot receiver in this league. And then for that next tier, everyone's gonna be like, we have to see if he can be more than just that slot receiver. And I think he has kind of shown that. And whether Landry just never got the chance, which in Miami he definitely did not, so, or if he couldn't do it, I don't know. But I think like Jerry Jeudy-esque, like, you know, Jerry Jeudy is always a little bit more like
It's already better than Judy.
Calvin. He's doing better. He's not actually better. You watch your mouth about Jerry Jeudy. Like,
He's better
I mean,
than
like,
Jerry Jeudy.
but like, think about it. Like, Calvin Ridley came in, and it seemed like he was going to be the possession receiver. Like, he was going to be Roddy White to Julio Jones, and then Calvin Ridley all of a sudden was just like, no, I could do more than that. And while I'm not saying Elijah Moore is Calvin Ridley, because I love me some Calvin Ridley, but I think it's a little bit of that situation where I think he already exceeded talent-wise what people thought he can be. So I think that's why that's the only reason I didn't really like the Landry. Like, maybe it is a little bit more of a Calvin Ridley thing.
Rich man's Landry. Calvin Ridley is actually a good one.
And if there was a Julio Jones across from Elijah Moore with Matt Ryan throwing him the ball, it would be a very different situation than Zach Wilson, Joe Flacco, and Mike White.
Yeah, poor man's Ridley, rich man's Landry. I don't know what these
Hunter
words
Renfro.
No, but that, like, that
is Juju a fair one though? Like, I think that might be fair.
Juju, like his game to me reminds me a lot of Cooper Kupp once Kupp got to the NFL, because Kupp transitioned from just a short slot receiver in college to running deeper slants and things and having a little bit more of the value targets. And I think that's what Elijah Moore does, is he can be that slot receiver, but he can also go, further downfield. Even like my evaluation of him last year was he had the best hands of anybody in the class. Like, I absolutely loved him catching the ball. And he also was utilized at Ole Miss as a running back occasionally, which gives you that kind of glimpse into his ability post-catch. So he does all of these things really, really well. And again, one of the things that I look for is ability to beat zones, because if you are in that second slot as not the wide receiver one, although he has been playing as the wide receiver one and has been successful that way, but he also beats zone coverage very well. So as a guy who can transition, move inside, move back outside, he's really good. And that to me is the Cooper Kupp, that kind of like that ceiling. I mean, obviously Cooper Kupp is having a crazy season this year, but being a somewhere between wide receiver 8 and 20 pretty consistently is definitely in Elijah Moore's range.
Mm-hmm. If I can stray away from just doing straight up player comparisons, value wise, what's his upside? DJ Moore with touchdowns? Just because he constantly
DJ Moore
threatens
is
to
still
be
like a top 12 wide receiver value.
That's the thing. You can see him be exceptional, but he never quite hit the top 12 because of a lack of touchdowns. Elijah Moore's doing slightly better in touchdowns, I think, even this year. Yeah, Elijah Moore's got 5 and a rushing touchdown. DJ Moore's stuck at 4 again. So the players aren't playing exactly the same, but I think that's where we're going to feel about Elijah Moore. He's exceptional, but it never quite top
would you
12
see
wide
him
receiver that doesn't
around
quite get
that
there.
Waddle tier, or is
He
he
should
below the
be.
Waddle tier for you?
Yeah, Waddle should be above Moore, I think, but they should be very close. It should be in a tier. Yeah.
Okay.
Rashad Bateman should be in a tier below just because we haven't quite seen that production, but they're all ranked too low right now, so we can't really judge it.
Not everybody.
Not that guy.
That is 1,000% a lie.
That guy and J Mike? Oh no. No.
I had Justin Jefferson, CD Lamb, and Jalen Reagor in a single tier at the top of the class, to be fair. I claim being right on Justin Jefferson, but I did have CD Lamb above him and still do, to be fair.
I was not right. I definitely had Lamb and Judy above Jefferson.
If you just stop looking for Calvin Johnson, you'll be amazed how much your hit rate improves. Like Justin Jefferson's even tall.
I love him. I want him back.
He's an amazing receiver.
Me
too, man. But I mean,
I've
DK
learned.
Metcalf's like the closest we're gonna get, and he ain't that.
Yeah, well, no one ever will be. That dude was literally like, I used to every year when in our fantasy leagues where we would like, all right, what rule changes do you want for next year? I used to always put up for vote, can we take Calvin Johnson out of the league because he's just not fair. It never passed.
As an out, like I came into football late, this football anyway, and had to pick up stuff, realizing that the golden era of all top 12 wide receivers looking like Calvin Johnson had never existed was actually just revolutionary to my advance and play. Because the way we talk about where all the big tall guys who are going to alpha it, it's like there's really only one. There's Calvin Johnson. But the way we talk about it is as if there's a golden era where most looked like that, and there never was. And realizing that was big for me.
Well, there was, because it was still, teams were built around it, though. They were still built around that X type. Even if it was players like Des Bryant and not really Calvin Johnson, it was still something teams did. They made it better for, the Miles Austins.
Yeah,
it's like to do better. That's the right player, right? The Cowboy.
I think that's fair.
Go Monmouth.
How polished and pro. I was low on Judy, and I got that wrong, despite so far the production being muted. And again, he's another one that he played in a congested situation, but I still would have expected more production for someone who's shown enough signs to be as talented as he is in the NFL.
Drew Lock, man, that wasn't his fault.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying I'm wrong.
But he's doing great now with Bridgewater, which makes perfect sense, which is why it makes me so sad with Sutton.
Just average passing ability, and you'll be amazed what you can find. Giants 2022 first. Danny Dimes. Don't know who that is. We've whoever that is out of the league.
No
Saquon and Ingram for Russ.
No. God, no.
I think Russ is against it.
There's so much I hate about this, and that means it's going to happen. Oh God.
Yeah, probably.
Oh God.
Can you imagine
if that happens? If that happens, Russ, you have to change your avatar on Twitter to the bust of Ronaldo.
Yeah, the Danny Dimes one. If that happens, I'm changing it to Johannes's.
What do we think Watson's going to do? Watson, I'm playing like Calvin Ridley for very obvious reasons, obviously. He's just retired to me till I see something. You roster him as a stash because, there's upside there. But I believe it when I see it beyond that. That's what I think.
He'll play.
I've been saying that a while.
No, I never thought he would play this year. He'll never play in the future. It's the thing, he's good enough that teams will look past when all of this goes away because anyone who thinks money's going to make this go away. And that's the unfortunate truth. And
the NFL isn't shy about ignoring shit they should.
Exactly. If you're good enough.
No, he'd be playing right now if the NFL was completely on board with just screw it. He's too good.
Yeah, but
like Tyreek Hill, miss what? Like the NFL's not shy about saying, actually, we don't care. They seem to be a little shy with Watson.
The only hesitancy that I have about Deshaun Watson, and again, if not thinking about what is going on with him off the field and the legal proceedings and all of that. But like the concern I have as a fantasy football GM would be they haven't suspended him yet. The NFL has not suspended him. This has all been Houston.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So he has not been suspended by Goodell. And Goodell loves, you got that great big old Mjolnir, Thor's hammer. Like he wants to wave that around and is just waiting to bring that down on Watson when he gets
when
the
he
chance.
starts. That's what I mean.
And so like that concerns me for next year, that it won't be time served because that was all you've been
active.
He's been a DNP coach's decision for Houston. And so
that's what I mean about the Shy. Teams seem to know like it's not really an option. Like it feels like he's going to get smacked.
Even the Dolphins were smart enough not to trade for him. I mean, they tried hard, but they were eventually smart enough not to pull the trigger.
For like 2 years, it seemed like the Dolphins were doing really smart things. And then this like very serious talks about Watson came out. And I was just like, why are you ruining this?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, you've got to, a good young quarterback that you don't have to pay. That's perfect. That's exactly what you want. Surround him with an offensive line, give him a few weapons, and build up your defense.
He's a good He's a good litmus test for coaching staffs, actually, because Miami was doing that shit for a while. It's like, oh, they suck. Cool. That's what's going on with Tua. They suck. Cool. Tony, going with Tony. Love your show. Wow, I appreciate you. I now love you. Please pick 2 half-point PPR. Javonte Williams, that guy. Yeah. Terry McLaurin and Mike Williams. You've got him in. I'd start Hunt over Williams.
Yeah.
I don't think Williams plays this week right now. Is the current consensus on it?
And
I would start Williams.
Staley came out and said that it was not as bad. But Javonte and McLaurin, I think, are the pretty easy answers.
Yeah, the Williams thing depends on if he was a close contact or actually has COVID, and if like when he was a close contact. So there are a whole bunch of moving pieces with Williams. Long story, yes, Javonte and McLaurin.
If he's taken out of 2 out of the 3 or 4 projection services I look at to kind of just fact check myself, I assume the consensus is right now that he's probably going to sit, and that's where he's at. So I've got him out of my projections right now. But, it's really early week. You don't have to lock yourself in unless your league is like that, in which case just don't set your roster yet. But honestly, even if he's playing, I don't think I play him over Williams for sure, and I probably don't play him over McLaurin anyway. Mike Williams is just less steady than the other 2. So I think those 2 are the answer either way. But check back on Friday, I guess. Ridley Truther, hey guys, Wilson to Denver would be amazing. I'll say amazing. I'm just too used to talking everything down. I apologize. What do you do with Judy if you get some rookie? Judy's fine. He should be fine if healthy. He did okay with what he's had, which is pretty impressive. Yeah. He's a top 24 wide receiver at this point. I don't think you value him higher than that. Even if he gets the stud quarterback of the draft.
I'm not trading away Judy. I don't really necessarily care. As long as they don't get, as long as Jay Cutler doesn't come back to play in the NFL and go to Denver, I think almost any quarterback that isn't, Drew Lock is kind of Jay Cutler. As long as it's not that kind of guy, that I think Judy's absolutely fine.
I think Judy's fine. I sense in most leagues I'd be able to get players and a pick that I would prefer over having Judy, but it's all about the trade.
Oh, yeah. You'll be able to get a very good price for him.
But I'm not panicked on Judy's ability in the NFL, put it that way.
Yeah.
No matter what the quarterback ends up being. Who do you all think would be the quarterback of the Steelers? Rodgers, Watson, or practically anyone confident. I don't know what the Steelers would do. I don't have a good sense of where they're at. They've just been rolling Ben out for so long. I don't have a
Gardner freaking.
That'd be awesome. Love that.
Anyone's an upgrade as long as they don't go with what they have on their roster right now. As long as they get someone from somewhere else. It could be Teddy Bridgewater, and I think it's an upgrade.
There's so much in that mix. Juju might be gone. I don't think he is, but some people think and have mentioned earlier that he might go. I don't think he will. He's made himself pretty clear at this point.
I also don't think you're sad with Deontay, Claypool, James Washington, and Freiermuth, and that's assuming they
I
don't
mean,
draft
his-
another wide receiver in the second, which they like doing every single year.
Here's my Achilles, man. Deontay Johnson don't care. Like, players who just excel in terrible situations are my catnip. Like, I don't have to care.
Oh,
Deontay should be
absolutely.
fine.
I just meant like as an
We're
offense.
good. I think Claypool would benefit from an improved situation.
Mm-hmm.
Juju needs to be healthy. I honestly think he should have been better than he was this year when he was healthy. So maybe he could use an improved situation too. And like Russ says, almost anything would be, except for Danny Dimes. Oh, Drew Lock.
Just like
Or
not that
Zach
kind of guy.
Wilson.
Yeah.
I think they try through the draft. If I'm going to guess, that's what the question really is. Are they going to draft or try and get one of these?
I think they've
players?
been so bad at drafting, they might just go and get an established guy. Because sooner or later, like John Elway's job has to be a little in trouble, right? No, never.
You would think so. I know.
He should be. I don't think it is.
Just draft tall quarterbacks. It hasn't worked.
With big arms. Be fine. Traded Mixon on a 2020 second for DK yesterday. Cool. That's
I like that. I mean,
good
Mixon's
trade.
scoring a lot of points, but if you're not scoring points, then go get DK. Yeah.
yeah. I even if I'm a contender, I don't think I'd pass that down.
If I'm
He's
contending,
just
I hold on to
24 and
Mixon.
he's huge and he's got muscles and no one's ever gonna.
Mixon's one of the 3 healthy running backs right now. I don't know if I sell that.
Yeah, that's fair, but Dynasty, something about age, and no one's ever going to recognize that DK is just expensive Tyler Lockett. So I guess DK, whatever. Burks, Hall, Wilson, Spiller is the way I'm seeing that right now. Landing spot might change things a bit, and draft capital. Draft capital is the other thing. We think we know so much right now, and it shakes up a lot. That's the thing. That's why I've always been able to come in the off season and do fine, because like there's plenty of time to catch up, and the draft literally changes everything for most people.
I'll give you my opinion in a month and a half. We'll be there.
That's right. You seem to have the right names on the early list, but
I try, Peter. I try. It's taken me a while to get there, but
I was talking about ADM, but sure, you take the compliment. That's cool. I got Jacobs. I assume you have the right names, dude. I got Jacobs, Drake, Waller, Brian Edwards, sell him. I'm waiting to trade Edwards if he ever pops off. It feels like we've had some of the best windows for Brian Edwards already, and there'll be another one. Everyone's going to remember he's young, tall, productive in college, so it's okay to hold, but I don't know, what can you get from Edwards right now to a non-contender? If it's not a first, I'll keep him and wait for someone.
You are not.
Make some bad.
You'll be lucky to get a second. Like Edwards in a third for a second if you're lucky.
Yeah. It might be as high as it gets, but probably not. Someone's gonna make a narrative, and his value will go up probably. Zach, I need a 4-show sample size to make a determination. Well, just tune into the Dynasty Crossroads, man. I got 4 episodes in one show. Our episodes usually run 4. Do you think Carson Wentz has value in 2? Yes. In 2 quarterback, Wentz has a lot of value.
He's doing very good.
Mm-hmm. Yep, starting quarterback. He's that difficult tier where no one wants to pay for it, but he has it.
He's scoring points. He's doing well. Just put respect on that man's name.
He should be starting every week in 2 QB league. That has
so he's a quarterback 1, like he's QB 12 on the season. Like he's been good, even though everyone thought he was bad because the last couple of years he has been awful. He's been good this year, which actually makes him good, even though everybody's still stuck on the he's bad.
He did what we hoped Sam Darnold was going to do.
Yeah. No, he's way better than Darnold.
That's what I mean. We thought everyone was like, the Jets just ruined Darnold. No, Wentz is doing fine. Wentz is the one. Oh, sorry, I skipped over Joe's. On my retooling team, I moved Tyreek Hill for Calvin Ridley in a 2022 first. I kind of hate it. I also moved Aaron Rodgers for a 2022 first and a 2023 second. I'll move Derrick Henry early next season. At this point, it's probably better to wait to move Derrick Henry. Hill for Ridley in a first seems like underselling Hill, and I don't roster Hill anyway.
That and look, Calvin Ridley is a really difficult situation because not only do I not know,
Ridley
Atlanta
didn't.
doesn't know.
Ridley probably didn't know.
Like I saw
and-
someone the
and
other
it's-
day, like, why haven't Atlanta heard from Ridley? He
Like-
released a pretty clear statement. He's done for now. Maybe he'll come back, maybe, but he's done.
And
He's
that,
got he's got things he needs to work on that are more important. Stop waiting.
I had
He's retired
commented
until he says otherwise.
I had commented on that because it was Tyler from from Happy Hour, and I quoted it was Arthur Blanks who was asked literally 2 days ago. It was 20 hours before Tyler had asked, what's going on with Ridley, and Arthur Blanks was like, "We haven't heard from him. We hope he's doing well. As soon as we know something, we'll pass that information along." And so, it's like, and I'm fully on board with Calvin Ridley getting himself right. Mental health is not a joke. It's not something we play around with. In terms of fantasy football, that's a really tough bet for me to make because you don't know what's going on with Calvin Ridley. And so I'm just I'm staying away from trying to acquire him. I'm hoping that he comes back and everything is great and he, is Calvin Ridley again, but I'm hoping more that he gets himself in a place where he's good mentally. In terms of this, selling Tyreek Hill for a 2022 first and I don't have any idea what's going to happen is tough for me. And Rodgers, if it's a 2 QB, selling Rodgers for a 2022 first is light also. Like that's scary to me.
First and a second. I mean, I don't know you're getting all that much more for Rodgers at this point.
Maybe, but I don't.
Yeah. What I was going to say about Ridley is the difference between this and an ACL tear is an ACL tear has a timetable and intention to come back.
Yes.
And this injury, the best thing for him, and it's true for an ACL tear, but we tend not to give physical injuries that benefit of that doubt, to be fair. The best thing for him might not be to come back. That's what he's saying in his statement.
Yeah.
It might be better for me not to play. And I don't know what's going to happen. There's definitely value in Ridley if his value drops to like a second round pick and I'm a non-contender and I want to stash him. Yes. But I'm the only thing I know is what the player told me. That's as close as I'm done. And he's done for now. Like, don't expect things.
Yeah.
Root for him. That's all we got. But, and Hill's going to be playing this year and next year and the year after, and he'll be a top 12 wide receiver probably. So I know about that one. It's like a first and a second for Hill, and it seems a little low, but that's just me. And I'm losing all my leagues this year, so don't take it too seriously. And DM, is there even a chance that T. Higgins has a better career than? Yes, there's a chance. Yeah, definitely. I don't think so. I think both have good careers, definitely. And I think Chase is always going to be valued over Higgins. I can tell you that about the Dynasty market.
And that'll be where you can make your edge is you can get Higgins for less than you can get Chase, and they may end up being pretty close in production.
If I can get one or the other, I'm getting Chase because I honestly think he does score more points and I think he will have more value, but I'm not upset to roster Higgins at all. So, so that's the thing. Dynasty, I can how we will value it. It's actually pretty predictable. Reality, no idea. I'm not a soothsayer, no me. But we are pretty predictable because we're humans and we like our things a certain way. There is a chance. Joannis has got it. Yeah, he's could have a better career for sure. I think T and Chase are both going to be top 10 wide receivers by Joe Burrow. Then, like Peyton Manning's the only guy who's consistently threatened to do that. So I don't see that, but maybe. Burks is that dude 6'3". Burks is good. That's what I'm getting from this stream. Stop influencing my analysis. No, it's fine. Traylon is a better version of AJ Brown. I mean, version with knees. That's a better version. I don't know who that is. Ridley Truther. Yeah, watching the nationally broadcasted Broncos game. Thank you. Sorry, speaking words. And those Judy stats lines being weak. He's 100% getting open. Teddy just not seeing him run first offense. Yeah, and remember, he's doing pretty well with Teddy because Teddy's proficient. He is what he is, but he's decent. He can throw a ball better than most people.
We can't use run first offenses against wide receivers with what we think DK Metcalf is worth.
Yeah.
Right.
Again, we like to play that game a little bit too much. It is worth noting that this isn't a great situation and Judy's performing well. Mm-hmm. So the play is probably good. That's why I say I was wrong to be slightly lower than him. Joannis finds us hilarious, or you guys hilarious at least.
Probably just
finds
me.
the ADM. Probably Russ.
Yeah.
Is it crazy to think that Herbert could be the QB1 heading into 2021? Yes.
Yeah, it's not crazy. I mean,
it's
I still
crazy.
think
No, Patrick Mahomes is never going to be dunked below someone, and Kyler Murray is the only guy who you could argue should be. So,
well, I think it will be. I mean, Josh Allen to me was getting into that tier, but then he's gotten that. Well, the whole Buffalo team has gotten super weird. But
Josh Allen, yeah.
Yeah, but like if we were to do a super flex startup right now and one of the 4 of those players went 101, I would not be surprised. Like I wouldn't like, what are you doing, man?
To be fair, you're talking about a tier of players that are all like a group of players that are all in the same tier.
Yeah,
so if
exactly,
you want Herbert over those others, that's fine.
That's why I don't think it's crazy to think that. Yeah.
I wouldn't blink. I just don't think like if we're talking about an average ADP or I think
Mahomes or Mahomes and Kyler.
I think Murray would be the one I would value over if I'm going to value anyone over the others.
I think that's
outside of Patrick Mahomes.
It'll be personal. I think. I mean, I said at the beginning of the year that'll be personal preference between Mahomes and Murray being the QB1.
Yeah, stop interrupting, Russ. Just
nope.
for change.
Never. My show.
That's exactly it. It's personal preference in that tier. Bengals is the next great funnel offense where 2 or 3 guys have 90 cents of production. Yeah, that's about the players though.
I deserve that.
Because you've got Higgins and Chase, 90% of the offense goes to him. Same way Jefferson and Adam Thielen are 90% of that offense, and then when Cook comes back, suddenly it divides again. Yeah, that's the only note I have. But yeah, it should easily be that way. It's unfortunate for Tyler Boyd, who is a very good player in himself, but it's also making him pretty good value in Dynasty right now, to be honest. Anyone else buying Tyler Boyd shares? Just me. Got it.
Just you.
Parker Watson, if Russ is traded, is there any chance Geno goes to into 2022 as a QB? Yeah, the Seahawks love doing that. they love starting some Geno. You don't want it if it is, but no. Yeah, I think that would easily do that.
But again, most QBs will look not terrible throwing the ball to DK and to Lockett. Wilson is very, very good, and it helps that he's very good at manipulating. I was about to say manipulating the pocket, but running away from the pocket and not getting hit because there is no pocket because that offensive line will always be terrible at pass blocking. But still, if someone can get the ball out of their hands relatively quick, then you have DK and Lockett, and it's not that big of a problem. But I really hope they don't go with Geno.
If Russ wasn't like a 4th round pick, like the recent thing is to call all quarterbacks that can run, like maybe they should try out for a different position or are athletic. And I can't help thinking if Russ wasn't so under the radar when he came in, they would have been saying that about him.
What's funny is it's not, he was like physically under the radar, not
because he was short.
If he was 2 inches taller, he would have been a 1st round pick and everyone would have been saying that about him. Yeah.
Fade the combine. Confirmed. Nicholas, don't sleep on Drake London. I will try not to. Sounds like he would be upset if I tried
that
such a
super
thing.
Sounds like a character from a movie, by the way.
It really does, doesn't it? My mind went to trying to physically sleep on top of another human being I haven't met before without them noticing. But yeah, that's like a detective name in some sort of. That is an awesome name. I hope he makes it.
But he's also very muscular, probably, so it wouldn't be very comfortable to sleep on him.
6'5" crazy jump ball seems to confirm it. Trade Chubb for Dobbins next year. Do it now?
I would not. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I know that everyone is all aboard the Dobbins thing, but I'm going to stick with Nick Chubb for the next couple of years because he's that good.
But value-wise, do you think Chubb
Of
will
course
be worth
not.
more than Dobbins?
No.
I want
I no,
Chubb.
like legitimately asking because
No,
I
because
agree. Chubb is
because he's older, but to me, I'm playing for points. I know that like you and I think about things differently, especially in the non-point scoring season where we start looking for value. But like if I'm trading Chubb for Dobbins, expecting not to trade Dobbins, like if I'm going to trade Dobbins again, yeah, great. Let's cascade that trade and go. But Nick Chubb for the next 2 or 3 years is going to be, for my money, unless he gets injured, a better producer than Dobbins in a situation that I'm comfortable with already and has done it. So why would I trade it for unknown unless I was going to go flip Dobbins again?
I have more concerns than that. Nick Chubb was a top 12 dynasty running back this offseason. He was already old. Dobbins was struggling into the top 24. I don't think the value is different. I think Chubb's going to win it in value too.
I was legitimately asking what you guys thought. I am absolutely biased when it comes to Dobbins, even though I do. Nick Chubb is like, imagine if he never like destroyed his knees in college. Like what we would have thought.
I'm sorry,
of him
this is
in.
Chubb on bad knees?
Yes.
Yeah.
God dang.
Yeah.
Wow. He's significantly
he's really freaking good. I love J.K. Dobbins, and seeing what Devonta Freeman is doing right now, to think what they could be doing with Dobbins instead of Devonta Freeman. Like again, I am personal biasing the hell out of this, and I get that, and I'm fine with that. But like Zach said, even if you are not a Dobbins guy, I think you can get more for Dobbins, even if the ADP keeps Chubb
because of his age. And then I think Chubb's going to be perpetually held over him in ranks because we know what Chubb can do. Yeah. And Dobbins was more of a committee even in the year he was healthy, but we're going to get more years out of Dobbins at a lower rank, and people are going to value him over him even if they don't rank him over him. Chubb will be taken first in ADP mocks and in your draft, but once they're on teams, no one's giving you Dobbins for Chubb unless they're Zach. If you know what I mean? Unless they're pushing.
Very well put. Yeah.
What's it? Dang, I quit. I'm going out on a high note. Corey Deem, with the season mostly over for me. When do we start dropping JD McKissick's, Kenyon Drake's? Well, first you offer them to the contenders for a second, and then you only drop them if it's to pick up someone particularly good. That's start snatching up players. Any bench stashes we should be grabbing now. I just did a podcast on that for real deep stashes. Do you guys have any?
I don't do that. Because I mean, let's face it. Like, usually guys like McKissick and Kenyon Drake will always be in the same position. Like JD McKissick has been in this situation for 3 or 4 years already. Kenyon Drake, well, he was a starting running back for a couple of years and then a committee back, and now he's a bit of a change of pace. I don't even know what you call what he is now, but he's going to be on a roster. So to me, yeah, if I can get a third for him, cool. Otherwise, I'd rather hold on to him than drop him for, what was that Indian, like Michael Strachan? Was that the guy that people were going nuts for in the preseason? That whatever, like.
If these are your best drop candidates, you probably don't have anyone to drop.
Yeah, like
and anyone on the waiver wire to pick up would be
like if there's people on the wire you want to pick up, go send McKissick and Drake to get someone usable. Like start doing some 2-for-1s that you can pull off, and that'll open up a bench spot. Like I would much rather prefer that than dropping someone that someone's gonna be like, oh yeah, I'll go pick that guy up, and then maybe they get 1 usable week, 2 usable weeks, maybe they use him as a package to go get someone else, but that's something you could have done. And for what? Like, chances are for nothing.
Running backs don't often end up being roster cloggers. I know Ryan has a whole system of what makes a roster clogger, and running backs can always produce. And so they always have some level of backup value, and so they never really are roster cloggers. That's a difficult point. I would guess if you were to show us your team, we'd probably point to someone else to drop first. So Russ's point's probably the best one. Stash Palmer, ASAP.
I'm fine with that.
Carlson Palmer? No, he's talking about the Canadian, right?
Jesse Palmer?
Arnold.
Oh yeah, stash some Marnie Palmies, baby.
There are too many Palmers
Josh,
in the
Josh
league.
Palmer.
Josh Palmer.
I mean, yes, that's the real guy if you want to go with it. Fine.
And you don't have to, but yeah, you can. Canadian, you know, just for Tannehill. I'd hold Chubb. Yeah, I wouldn't drop him. Yeah, plus I traded Henderson and for Hunt. Solid. So I got a handcuff for Chubb. Just keeps hearing people say so. Yeah, it's for what though? I don't mind sending him for Dobbins if you're not winning this year. Put it that way. I think that's solid, but just be aware that Chubb's going to produce high and probably ranked higher. But it's fine.
But the thing is, you're hearing people say sell Chubb because they don't care about the player. They care that he's a 20-something-year-old running back on a second contract, and there's going to be younger running backs coming in.
And it doesn't always work that way.
Exactly.
Like I said, I don't think many Dobbins owners are taking a Chubb trade.
I kind of agree.
But I'd be fine in trying it, and if your trade goes through, you're good. So, yes, I guess is our answer. Honestly, people were crapping on Dobbins because of Ravens don't pass to running backs, and now we're talking about a third-year running back who's never done anything. Yeah.
We were friends 2 seconds ago. You better calm down.
Yeah, only reason I got out of Mixon was because of health fear. I think it's fine. He's healthy now. Plus, I just love freak wide receivers. Who doesn't? Appreciate you guys' time and input.
Me and this guy have a lot in common.
At the end of the day, it's your roster, you know. And honestly, I thought the trade was solid, good.
Yeah, it is very much.
Trade Chubb, but not for Dobbins. Who? That's a fair opinion. There are many things you could trade for. Dobbins negatives. Gus Edwards-Jackson doesn't check down. He nor first round. Yeah. I guess I didn't remember because anytime someone starts talking about how a player can't get targets because a quarterback doesn't throw to that position, I just stop listening. I probably unfollow and stop listening to them altogether. It's nonsense. It's nonsense.
Remember when we were worried about Christian McCaffrey not catching the ball because Cam Newton threw the ball too hard and that's why he never checked down?
Literally, the proof was meant to be Cam Newton, and then the disproof is literally like you couldn't have a better. That's not a thing, and it still comes up.
But remember the second half of the season, while Mark Ingram was still scoring double-digit touchdowns, J.K. Dobbins was starting to do very well. The Ravens they don't want to run one running back because of the amount of work they give their running backs. Gus Edwards isn't stealing touches from J.K. Dobbins. He's getting touches because the coaches want a second running back to get touches.
Yeah, that's the thing with targets. It's not about the quarterback. Or the running back usage is much more coaching dependent. Mm-hmm. But targets can work a little different. Well,
running quarterbacks are always said to dump off less because they run instead of dumping off. I mean, I don't know if there's stats to back that up, but that's absolutely the narrative.
Stats, never heard of them. JB, how you doing? Oof, I don't like either trade. Rodgers, if it's a super flex, yeah, Zach was kind of similarly nervous of both.
It's about value. It's not about what you
neither
think
of those
produce.
trades were value, though. Like a first and a second was what that really trade is not value.
For Rodgers now.
No, that was Hill.
Then why trade him?
And Rodgers, a single first and 2 quarterbacks?
Unless your team is
bad.
Unless your team is bad,
he seemed to be selling out, and I mean, you're only getting a year or two younger going from Hill to Ridley, but still, it seemed like that was the case for that team situation.
But here's what I'd say: he knows his league better, and if that was the best offer he can get, it's probably what he has to take.
Yes. I don't know. I think some people, and this may not apply. What was it Nick? This may not apply to Nick. But some people get so caught in the idea of rebuilding that you end up trading players just to trade them rather than having an idea of what you're doing for a rebuild. So you get rid of, okay, I gotta get rid of all of my good players to rebuild, and that's not necessarily true. It's you've got to get value back, or you've got to get pieces that you can actually use going forward. Otherwise, you just dismantled your team, and now you have 3 picks in the 2022 draft and nothing else. Yeah. So like, what are you gonna where do you go from there? And so it's not necessarily like attacking the trades or what he's doing, but like I'm trying to kind of come to grips with what's going on. And if you're doing that to rebuild, then I would sit down before I start trading players and actually like kind of brainstorm and figure out the direction I'm headed with my rebuild and try to accomplish that rather than just, send out and get, a first because it's a first, rather than have an idea of what I'm doing with my rebuild. But
yeah, I struggle with patience too. I like sold Tyreek Hill the first time his value increased, and that was a wrong move too. Mental health matters. Our minds are what make us human. That and thumbs. So I hear, but I agree. Believe in you can keep or sell. Keep. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we're all on the same train. Yeah, keep.
Yeah.
But it's sell for what? I mean, without a trade on the books, it's hard to say. Like, you gonna give me 3 first? Sell. Rashad Penny, no. How do you rank these running backs going into the next season? Mitchell, Dillon, Javonte, Dobbins, ETN, and Akers. Well, Javonte's on the top. And that's about it.
I had to lean back for this one. Like, I need to soak this in.
For me, it's Javonte Williams, it's Dobbins, and then take your pick, whatever you prefer between Mitchell, Dillon, yeah, like that whole the last 4 is.
I like Mitchell.
Yeah, I think Mitchell's my next.
Yeah.
Mitchell, ETN,
and that's the guy I would target of all of them.
Akers, Dillon. I think is my order.
I think I might have Akers over ETN anyway.
Yeah, I'd have Akers over Dillon, ETN.
Yeah,
that's fine by me.
You're the one.
That's
that needs
a good
to
question.
To the next question.
That's
you're the one leading.
Oh yeah, I think we did it right. And here's Joanna's answer. So that's pretty. That's
wow. High on Dillon.
Yeah, apart from Dillon and ETN, high on ETN for me. But there you go. Ridley Truther, A-Rob to Chargers if they don't resign Marcus Williams.
I would love
that.
An
awesome
that would be beautiful.
If he signs there, trade him.
Yeah, we're back to the quarterback one, like big arm, throw it up to A-Rob. Love it.
Sure. Someone wants Boyd. Yeah, normally just me. But okay, what pick should they get for him? It's a 2nd round pick at this point.
Yeah.
I've been getting them for slightly less, so a 2nd would be good. I agree with your take, except ETN, and have him last because of Robinson. Yeah, that's why I put him there. I'm James Robinson till I die at this point. I'd fire Urban before I'd fire James Robinson from my fantasy team. I have no power at all, but somehow I'll fire Urban before I drop James Robinson in my ranks. I'd want a 2nd, but wouldn't hate a 3rd for Boyd. I would hate a 3rd, but I have been trading from that value, so I'm going to perpetuate the stereotype. Yeah, send on for a 3rd.
I would still hate a 3rd for Boyd. That's not enough.
I just keep Boyd. I think ETN is taking Visca role. So,
yeah, it's not out of the realm of possibility. But the Visca role has not been.
That's what I was trying to find a way of saying that.
You're assuming they have an intelligent coach that will use Visca.
So what? Like watching ETN for me in college, he was like Ronald Jones with the ability to catch the ball most of the time. Like he fought catching the ball, but he still caught it. So to me, like he's a real good compliment for Robinson. If your coaching staff is smart enough to say, okay, we're going to use him as kind of a space back and then split him out when he's not the back. But man, Urban Meyer is worse than we thought, and we thought he was real bad.
Just don't buy Jacksonville players.
Yeah,
I'm calling it. Apologies to
Unfortunately.
J. Mike Check and Gabe Gearing of the Open Bar podcast, who live in a real tough life. Standing, they just ruin players. They ruin players. I'm saying it. I'm saying the quiet part loud. Oh, sorry, J. Mike. Which Samantha's medal would you love to be
No,
eating
meal.
right now? Meal?
Samantha's downtown.
I don't know
That's
what these
Canton.
things are.
So you will by this time next year, you will know Samantha's downtown, because that is Canton, Ohio. That's the Fantasy Football Expo, and it doesn't matter to me as long as there's gravy on it, J. Mike.
Oh man, corned beef hash with some eggs and
Yes.
some bacon, throw some sausage gravy on top of it, and I will be a mess for the next 2 to 3 hours, and it will be so worth it.
I'm hungry, so I really appreciated all of that. And I don't know any of them, so I would eat anything. I eat anything. Unless it's got celery. I hate celery.
I don't like celery either.
Celery sucks.
Yeah.
Big celery tries to keep us
Dog
quiet.
doesn't like celery either. You hear that?
Dog knows. And a little less. Sorry, Russ.
That's when she was talking bad about Dobbins, and I said we weren't friends anymore.
Yeah, from like 30 minutes ago. Yeah. Give up Dimey Brown
No.
yet? Yeah.
No.
No. Yeah.
The right answer is yes. My answer is no.
For what? He's easily a hold on my rosters, but for a second round pick, yeah, I'd probably trade him. And it hurts. Good point on having a plan before rebuilding. Rough plan. Let the landscape guide you a little bit, but yeah, rough plan. Should always be looking at least 2 years ahead. I can't do rebuilding conversations. No, I'm looking at next year, guy. If I'm buying value, it's so I can trade it for points as soon as possible.
That's
don't
not
have
the
to
kind of
plan
plan
too
you
hard.
have. I don't
That's
think
too firm. That's too firm for me.
time isn't really what you do. What you need to do is have a direction you want to go in positions more than you do. I want to be competing in 2 years, because that's too specific. That's not going to work out super well. But know what you have to sell. See in your league where you can and what you can get out of it, and then do your best with what you can from there. But like saying, I'm going to, we don't know what's going to be happening in 2-3 years.
Yeah,
It's too rough to do that. But go for players. I'm going to go do what Peter says. Get your list. Cut it down to the younger guys, list of guys you want on your team, and cut out the old guys, because I don't care. I know that you want to score points next year, but I don't care if I'm rebuilding. I don't want Adam Thielen on my team. It's just, that's a me thing. But, make your list, go get those guys, and worry more about that than I want to compete in 2 years.
As far as a plan goes, it's just continually trying to add more value than anything else in every trade. Even if I don't like the player, I don't believe in the player, just continually trying to add up that value. And if I see a chance to go get one of those players, I'm going to do it. And if I catch wind of something, my team's performing in the season, I'm going to sell for points, because winning's rarer than we make out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like even if you made the playoffs, it's like what, a 12% shot, 40% shot at winning now. It's if it's higher, if it's easy to win, try a different league. It's more challenging and fun, and hurts more, but it's more challenging and fun. But hey, Parker, I'm not shitting on your take here. Yeah, it is a good idea. Have an idea of the direction you're going. Just don't get too set on timelines and positions. Be Water. Be Bruce Lee.
But it's funny though, because you guys rebuild differently than I do. Because again, I am terrible at trading. So when I make trades, it's usually identify a class and trade. We've had this conversation, and you guys can sit there and shrug all you want, but like that's how I do it, and that's how I've been successful doing it. And so I mean, like
I like different.
That's the beauty of
important. Yeah,
the beauty of like this whole game is there are different ways to go about attacking it and figure out what works for you and do that. Because again, like I am terrible at trading. So most of my rebuilds are through rookie drafts, which is why I had to get better evaluating rookies.
That would fit here though. Like, if you were building your way, you wouldn't say just generic 2 years, you would say the 2023 class.
Yeah, identify
how many
a
years
class.
that
So
is.
it's
Very
not
smart, yeah.
it's not.
I mean, it's
not-
fine to say 2 years as well. Just be willing to move around based on how you want to go about it.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I would say. Everything else on there, spot on.
Okay, fellas.
Daniel.
My wife just got home, which means I need to get going.
Okay.
But since
You
there's
wanna
2
go
of you,
now?
the show doesn't need to end because of that.
Okay.
Love you both. Bye, everybody.
Say hi. Oh, he just left. Just full on left. Well, Gallup's value skyrocket when he leaves Dallas. I don't know. What is it right now? It's like a late first round pick right now. I don't think it skyrockets.
I think you're higher on Gallup than a lot of
Probably.
the community is, and rightly
fair.
so, because I think he's a good receiver. But I think he's got a chance to go somewhere, and all of a sudden, instead of being the 3, he could be a 1. He's probably a 2, but either way, that increases his value.
That's fair. It's like the running videos we were talking about. The minute there's trade rumors or an actual trade, there'll be a bump up in the. Yeah, that's fair to say. Todd, the charges are too cheap to pay it for a guy like Robinson. Don't know. It sounds right. I don't know about the spending history. Zach's got nothing. Nicholas, I'm flipping players. Alex Collins for Tyler Boyd. Yeah. Darren Williams for Christian Kirk, definitely. Flip Lockett for Knox and Waller.
Lockett and Knox for Waller.
I've been a little bearish on Waller lately, and that's unlike me because he's an old, good tight end, and normally I'd be all in. But especially with Lockett, Lockett's one of those guys I'm perpetually buying rather than selling. But it's not bad. I think that comes up even, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Depends where Gallup goes. Yeah, that would have an effect on how much of a bump.
Can I go back to Nick just a minute with the Waller thing? I might again try to flip Waller at this point, just because I think people have this idea that he's a top whatever 2 or 3 or 4 tight end, and I don't value tight ends like most of the rest of everybody else does. Like if you're not a bull of the woods tight end, you can, top 10 or 12, you can find somebody. It doesn't have to be.
Is there a particular type of player or player that you have in mind, or just in general you'll be fishing?
I'd be, again, if he's rebuilding, if he's doing that sort of thing, I'd start like trying to fish Waller for one of these young receivers, even if I had to add a pick with him. So you're going after Elijah Moore, you're going after Waddle, those type of players who haven't quite ascended to where we're expecting they go, but they've shown you enough that you think they're going to get there.
Fair. But Zach, that's exactly what the Jags were doing with ETN and rookie camp. Yeah, I don't like anything Urban tries to do. Just don't buy Jacksonville players. You can buy. There is going to be a value jump, like there is with ETN.
That's exactly what they should be doing with ETN.
I moved Gaskin, Thielen, CPAT, Tyrod Taylor, all good moves. How did you move Geno Smith, Keenan Allen for 222 firsts? I think Keenan Allen and Thielen paid for that, and Gaskin's probably a second on top. Or you got two seconds, and you traded out for rookie picks. That's fine.
I think I'll get, and then I'd try to squeeze a couple, maybe 3 of those seconds, and try to get another 23 first. Yeah, just keep flipping.
Just keep going. Don't trade past 2023, I would say. But when I said just keep flipping, I had this horrible nightmare image coming to me of him coming back to the chat and saying, like, I have 9 2026 picks. How'd I do? Like, I misled.
That's a win.
ETN's ideal role will be how Detroit uses Swift. Yeah, he ain't getting that. But that's the ideal role for a running back, essentially for us. Basically a 50-50 split. I don't think he was splitting evenly with Jamal. I think he's got them a fairly dominant workhorse. But, no problem, Nicholas. Thanks for asking him, man. That's a good one, Parker. Yeah, I think Parker's a good one. Swift role would be, I forget what I just said. Ideal as opposed to Visca. I just think of Visca as a running back. Yeah, I think everyone does at this point. Ask. Responding to someone else again. Ask DLF maybe been helping me on live streams too. Yeah, Cal and Tyler are solid. Definitely recommend taking their advice over mine personally. I take all my advice, but no, they're real good. They put in a lot of effort to help people out as well. So I'm glad you're checking them out. I didn't necessarily mean try to create. Yeah, I know you didn't, Parker. It's just like I want to sound smart on stream, so like I'm getting all nitpicky. You're fine, believe me.
I'll fight for you. I'll fight for you, Parker. Don't worry.
Nitpicky is anyway. Corey Dean, I offered 2 firsts for Dak. Sorry, Parker, by the way. I already didn't mean to single you out that way. In a 12-team Superflex Dynasty, rejected. Yeah, that makes sense. What do I got to give up to get a stud QB? Too much in draft picks. You're gonna have to add players.
Yeah,
that would be the way I was approaching. If you're trying to get a Kyler Murray or Dak Prescott, who should be in that group, but I don't think everyone have him in there. I think that's interesting of you. Or Justin Herbert. Yeah, it's gonna be 2 firsts plus something plus a quarterback.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, and that's going to be the thing is they're going to need a quarterback back because your 2 firsts don't guarantee you a quarterback. I mean, there's no guarantee those are top 3 or 4, and there's no guarantee that the quarterbacks in whatever like this draft class, the quarterbacks are not great. There's no guarantee that you're going to get a good quarterback with the first anyway. So, and
this is one of the ways I'll be trying to get Watson to have some value for me. Like someone could really appreciate that upside with that trade and be like, maybe that's more. But it depends on who that is. But this is how I try and trade Aaron Rodgers away, buy back years, as Ryan McDowell says. And then the trade comes a lot more tempting to them. Like I might get the production and these first. That's more likely to get a positive response. It's got to have a quarterback. It's going to be pretty decent too. Bye, Russ. Joe Herbert, Bruce Lee for Chuck Norris, and a first.
I don't know. I need Jean-Claude Van Damme. I mean, you got the he's aging, but he's still got a little bit of tread left.
I keep meaning to watch that. Have you seen that movie he made about basically he's playing himself, but it's meant to be a really interesting introspective look. Like it's meant to actually be a pretty. I'm not going to get into it on a football stream, but I saw an advert. It's like a Netflix movie or an Amazon movie, and it looked real interesting. It's him back in Belgium being like the famous Jean-Claude Van Damme and like the post-career Van Damme and struggling with going through these fits of imagining himself saving people and being everything he was before. It sounded like a pretty interesting movie, but I have not watched it. So that was a random tangent. That's what I do. Tim Shady, what's the correct tanking etiquette? What are your league rules? Follow them.
Yeah, and that's probably it. If it's written out in your leagues, like I've got some leagues where it's expressly written in the rules that tanking is prohibited, then don't do it. I think starting injured players and starting or not putting players in your starting lineup is poor form because that affects the integrity of the league. But aside from that, like whatever.
I would say if it's not in your rules, you can do it. That's my etiquette. But it's how well do you know your league? I know a lot of leagues I've been in, like I barely know anyone. I just send trade offers. But most of the leagues I'm in now, I at least know most of the people playing in them, at least on an online basis. And so my etiquette would be in those leagues, depending on if that's the type of league you're in, I'd be upfront. I'd be like, guys, I'm losing. Here's what I'm thinking of doing. It's not in the rules. It says it can't. Would this upset you? It's okay to get in your league chat and say, I'm planning to do this. It's not in the rules. I'm allowed to. But if it's really going to upset you, it's really going to piss the league off, then I'm not going to do it. It's fine. Outside of that, if it's not in the rules, you're allowed to do it. That's my etiquette. I don't shame anyone for finding an edge in the rules, if you know what I mean. Because the rules are the rules. I think that's fair. Outside of that, when I'm playing with friends, I think, or even just people I know through fantasy football, I think it's reasonable just to be upfront and say, hey, I'm going to start my worst lineup. None of them will be injured. None of them will be on IR, but I'm not trying to score more points. Is that okay with you all? I think that would be fair, but that's going above and beyond, to be honest.
Well, and the other piece of that is, yes, they're ensuring a better pick. They still got a hit on that pick. So
exactly. It's actually still a risk, to be honest with
Yeah.
you. Maybe let Lady Luck decide instead of, trying to pick your own pick.
No.
Like I picked N'Keal Harry, it wasn't great. So sometimes you let a little variance creep in just to save yourself. But yeah, that's my answer. Anything that's not in the rules is perfect etiquette. But honestly, if it's a league with people that I know or don't, I might get in the league chat or whatever messaging service you said and said, hey, this isn't in the league chat. Is it going to upset you? But that's above and beyond. Yeah, exactly. Parker again. Thanks for the replies. And Last Boy's new sub will be back. I really appreciate it, Parker. I do. Daniel McGrath. I'm a Bronco fan. And I feel like I should sell Judy whenever he has a big game. That's kind of where I'm at. I don't disrespect the talent of Jerry Jeudy. Don't get me wrong. There's more upside than what we've seen. But it feels like it's like a Rashad Bateman. Like we've been knowing he's good for so long that his value crept up to where it could be more than once. And if it gets there, I'm all for trading it. But it's about the trade. If the QB situation doesn't get better, Javonte will be the only guy worth rostering. He could well be. He's probably going to be the most fantasy relevant, at least in the current situation. And that's the thing. Like,
it's going to
should probably throw up an idea. It will change. Judy's going to be fine. Yeah. But if I'm getting Elijah Moore plus, if I'm getting Rashad Bateman plus, if I'm getting if I'm competitive, if I'm getting Devontae Adams straight up, I do that. Not if my team is like deprived of all of the value. That's where it's really the trade and the team specific. I don't think you're in a bad place. I think you've got it down here. You know Judy's good, but if the value creeps up for a random 1 week reason, I think it's fair to explore trades. Yeah. I think we're at the end here, Zach. There have been no more comments. You got anything you want to talk about? Things you like last time you were on, you were like, buy Hunter Renfrow, and now everyone's saying they said that. So you got any more?
No, I don't have. I mean, we're at the playoffs at this point, so good luck. I mean, good luck. I really don't. Like, I don't have.
I'll tell you what. Do you start your studs kind of mentality going into the playoffs, or will you start Alexander Madison because he's the guy of this week? How do you play that?
So kind of a combo where in the playoffs, especially you're looking for, because the other teams are real good, you're looking for kind of upside swings. And it depends on my team too. If I'm rolling into the playoffs at, as the 6th seed playing the 1 seed, then hell yeah, I'm gonna listen to a lot of DFS shows. I'm gonna try to find those little edges that they find where, there's kind of a correlation to in daily fantasy players that are kind of under the radar and have a low amount of money attached to them. Mm-hmm. It's similar to guys you may be able to find either on your waiver wire or you have on your bench that may pop off in a week. And so that's something that I try to look for and, hit on, in the back end of my starting lineup. So flex plays and that sort of thing where you're looking for upside. But I mean, you say start your studs. It depends on if they've been studs too. I mean, Saquon Barkley is a stud, but man,
if I got running back this week,
that's fine. But if I got Madison, like there's a real question in my mind.
That's what I was going to say. Like this week could be playoffs for some leagues. Aaron Jones returns after A.J. Dillon's been being pretty good. He's projected in the top 12 by most. Yep. Saquon Barkley projected in the top 12. Do you have a general way you're going to approach that or not? Obviously, you could just answer whether you're starting those guys over, the likes of David Montgomery or Nick Chubb. But that just answers one question. So I was wondering.
I think so. The other kind of, what are the chances that you have the option to do that? I've got teams that have. So I got a team that has Saquon and Chubb, but they're not in the playoffs, so it doesn't matter. Like I'm going to start whatever I'm going to start. Most of my teams that are in the playoffs, which this is going to sound really weird, but have some amalgamation of backup running backs that have gotten me, or what everybody views as backup running back. So I'm rolling out like James Conner and McKissick, and like that type of player. So it's I don't know, like that. I do really value kind of matchups at this point, and especially players who can get you that big upside swing.
Yeah, I like that. And mostly I'm gonna go with who I think scores more points. I'm not gonna tilt overly that they are not a stud.
Yeah.
Leonard Fournette's a solid start. Alexander Madison, I'm starting him. But I do think I would, instead of start your studs, I would continue with whatever process has got me there. I'm not going to dramatically shift. Like if you've been starting your studs and that's been working for you, like I think the process is what I would maintain rather than the studs. Yep. Derek says essentially, he ended up with CeeDee Lamb and Javonte by not tanking, and that goes to Zach's point. Yeah, I have to say I enjoy winning, even if it's just a week. So mostly I've never actively tried. I can't think of a time I've actively tried to score fewer points. But I've never been bothered by someone trying to find an edge in the rules. But personally, I feel I get more pleasure because winning is rare, and knowing I just screwed someone's week. Actually, I like that.
Yeah, and I'm with you, and I think back to it was what the year that Barkley came in. What was that 2016? And I think it was 2016.
I could look it up, but I'm not gonna.
And I had coming to the end of the 2015 season, we're kind of neck and neck, and
2018.
It was 2018 that Barkley came in. No, really?
You're getting old, Zach.
Man, I am getting old. So it was the 2017 season. Barkley, and I was kind of going back and forth, and Kyle was the commissioner, and I benched Aaron Rodgers to play another quarterback, and he said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Well, I'm going to win this matchup, even though it's going to cost me." The 101, because I can't in good conscience. He's like, so you're sitting Aaron Rodgers to win the matchup. And I did. And it cost me that pick. But I just can't in good conscience lose. Now, if I am going to tank, what I do is I trade players. So I don't have players who are scoring points on my team. And then I get Yeah, then you're not tanking. You're still starting your best players. Your best players are.
And then it's on them, to be fair, if they don't pay that second for Madison or whatever. I mean, that's on you, bro. I mean,
exactly.
That's fair. I think playhouse funds for you is still always a good rule. You know what I mean? If you like finding edges and rules, and even if it's in my league and it's not how I would do it, as long as it's within the rules, I think it's fine.
Yep.
And if we need to make a new rule, making a new rule. But I never have so much money it has to particularly upset me either way. But I get that it is frustrating if you're close to winning or close to getting to the playoffs and something like that happens. But
yeah.
Appreciate it, Corey. It's fine. We're just happy you all showed up, really.
It's fun. The chat was great.
Thanks for showing up, Zach. I really appreciate it. And Russ, we got to see him for a while. I was pretty happy with that. You can find Zach at the Dynasty Dummies podcast, right? That's what you called still?
Occasionally, yeah. It's been a while.
At Tacit Assassin 13 on Twitter, and Russ is at Dynasty Outhouse on Twitter. He's host, one or the other of the Trade Addicts podcast on the DLF network, and I'm here. I'm right here. So you can find me here. Bye. Thanks very much, and we'll see you again next week, Wednesday, 9:30 every week. Appreciate it. You can no? All right.